Hello students, welcome back. So in continuation to a previous chapter where I explained about various AWS networking components and you learnt about VPC, Internet Gateway, Subnet, Route Table, Net Gateway, Security Group, NACL, etc. And now the next we will be here doing practical demonstration. So I will be creating a VPC here and then I will be showing you that how we can select manual subnet mask, how we integrate internet gateway, subnets and route table and other things. So let's get started. The first thing is about the VPC. So as I already had explained in my previous chapters, but just a bit more addition to it is like when we are creating a new account, then we are provided with one default VPC. So that VPC automatically creating three subnets within the three availability zones and the default CIDR that is being presented by it. So that is by default coming in. Then there is another term that is called as non-default VPC. So non-default VPC means here that you are creating a virtual private cloud as per your networking requirement for your applications. So that is what is called as non-default VPC. Before we start creating VPC, you need to know a bit about CIDR block. Ranges which are prescribed and supported by AWS are given here. That is the 10 series, which is class A, 172 series is class B and 192 series is class C. So this is something you should know before you start setting up VPC. And then one more important thing is about your subnet mask IPv4, that what range is allowed there and what are the basic things that you should know. So like for example, this is something we discussed earlier, is like the CIDR block. So it can be between /16 and /28 and in each subnet, when you are setting up this CIDR block, then 5 IP addresses you cannot use. So first 4 and the last one cannot be used. And here, just for example, I have taken a CIDR block, let's say 192.168.5.0/24. So this CIDR block is actually representing 256 IP addresses, but you cannot use here 5 IP addresses, the first 4 and the last one. And the reason is like the 0 is the network ID or network address, then 1 is reserved by AWS for VPC router, then 2 is again reserved by AWS and 3 as well is reserved by AWS for future use, and the last one is actually broadcast address. But just keep this knowledge with you that broadcast is not supported in a VPC. However, this is still reserved for the future users. These are the important facts that you should know before you start actually setting up the VPC. So once these things are clear and you know what CIDR block you're going to select, the next step here is to get started. And so I'm already logged in here to my account, and let's go to VPC, and this is the dashboard view for your VPC, and you see here this is giving all the default options which are already available with our account. So that means there is one VPC already here, no net gateway, however there are 3 subnets which is coming by default, then there is one route table coming by default, network ACL coming by default, security groups 2, internet gateway 1. If we click on security groups, you will see here there are 2 security groups. One is the default one is the custom that I had created when I was demonstrating about security groups in the previous chapters. I hope if you have gone through all my last chapters, then you would know that how we created and what is the use of it. Now in order to get started, we will just go to create VPC option, and here you see there are 2 options, VPC only and VPC and more. So if you select VPC only, then you see here that only some limited options are available. That means you just give name to your VPC, you select CIDR block and just IPv6 option, and then tags if you like to have, you have them in place, and then you just create the VPC. But it's not giving you more options, like let's say if you want to opt for availability zone or subnet mask, then those options are not available here. But if you want to do that in an advanced way, then we can do VPC and more. Now you will see the difference here. It is saying auto tag, auto generation, the project name. So I can just, if you want, you can unselect it or you just keep it like this, and then you can say here, let's say I'm here CS365 demo, and I always start it with VPC. Then the CIDR block. So CIDR block, now as you remember, there are 3 options we have class A, class B, class C. So this is up to you which CIDR block you want to opt for. So like let's say I will go with just 10.0.0.0.16, and then for now IPv6 I will not be opting it up, but like later if you want you can opt for IPv6 also, that is possible. Then number of availability zones. So here is the options that you can opt for. Let's say by default it is giving 2 availability zones. You can have 3 availability zones also. And one more thing that I want to show you here is the VPC here, and this VPC is showing here 2 availability zones, and each availability zone has 2 subnets. So one subnet is public and one subnet is private. So this is also representing here the routing table associated to each of these subnets. And now here, let's say if you want to make your application high available, then you can opt for the more availability zones here. So that means we can go for 3 availability zone. In that case, you see now the routing demo here, or like the routing explanation is also changing. So now you see here 3 availability zone, and each is having 2 subnets. So that is up to you actually how you want to design it as per your choice of making your application high available across these 3 data centers. Say if you only just want to have one, that is also possible, but this is not recommendable, and I do not recommend personally, because at least for the sake of high availability you should at least opt for 2, or if possible go for 3, which is the best topology in general. Then there is customization option, like first availability zone here is A. You can even swap it if you want to make it another one, then you can change that as well, but of course then in that case you have to do it up and down. Then the number of public subnets, we are selecting here 3, number of private subnets 3. So now this is up to you. So let's say if we just want to go for 2, then it is saying here number of public subnets. The number of public subnets here, it is asking for, if you do not want to have any public subnet, then you can do is 0, otherwise you can opt for number you want to create. Number of private subnets, we keep it 2, and then here is the customized subnet CIDR block. So you see here public subnet CIDR block is given. So this is automatically recommended, but if you want you can change it as per your requirement. So for example, let's say my requirement is not that high. I do not want that many hosts. So you see here 4096 IPs can be there under this particular CIDR block, and I do not have need of that many resources. So I'm just making it, let's say I will make it 28. So in that case I have 16 IPs here. Same way here also, I do not want that big CIDR range. So I'm just making all them low to the requirement that I have. And then net gateway. So if you feel that net gateway is needed, you can have that as per every availability zone or within one availability zone, or you can opt it none, and later this can be enabled. Same way VPC endpoint, you can have it, you can keep it none, or you can have it for S3 gateway. So let's keep it default for now. Enable DNS. Additional tags, if you want to allocate, you allocate, otherwise we go and we create VPC. So now after selecting all the options, networking options which are available within your VPC, the next step is to just have it in place. It takes some time and then it will be created. So we see here all the checkboxes are now green, and if we go to view VPC, you will notice here that we have this VPC already in place with this CIDR block. So now we can go here and you see here VPC, there are 2 VPCs, and you can select the VPC that you want to view here, and also you can select from here. So let's say we select this, and then you go to subnets, then it will give you options here. You can just deselect it, then you will see all the subnets which are created here. So if you remember, these are the ones that we have created for our custom VPC, and the name is VPC CS365 demo. So this is available here now. So 3 are coming from default, and these 4 are the ones that we created manually during the setup. So that was the first step to get started. The next chapter now, we will be setting up route table, internet gateway, and EC2 instance. So see you in the next chapter. Thank you.
So subscribe, like, and hit bell icon to my channel. Thank you.